Alright, so I did my book review on the Illustrated Guide to Assistive Technology and Devices. This is by Suzanne Robitaille. Alright, so a little bit about Suzanne Robitaille is she is a writer and blogger on disability information. She actually writes journals for Wall Street, ABC News, Disboom, and many more. She actually had a personal experience with disability of herself. She was actually, she lost her hearing at age 4 and she grew up profoundly deaf. So the introduction on the book and the main theme is that this book just specifically shares knowledge and information on how to find technology or devices that can help anyone with disability, or just educate anyone who simply has one, or has a disability or knows of someone who does. And also, furthermore, it talks about how these technologies can help build their self-confidence and independence and many more. So the summary of the content is that Suzanne actually became naturally interested in these types of devices that can help anyone with a disability in their working life. She actually talked about a device that helped her. It was called the Cochlear implant, which she credits to be the ultimate assistive device. Her goal throughout this book is to help inform anyone and educate these people about the different devices that can just help them succeed. And then she also draws on her own experiences on technology and how it has helped her personally. And then she talks about how sometimes, the problem could be because of income, or you just can't pay for the device. But she talks about how you can separate those two and have a fulfilling life in the many devices that can be substituted for whatever may or may not be available as far as price, or just technology in general, or availability. So the analysis and evaluation is that she argues that building media coverage around any type of developmental disability is just an excellent way to educate society about the different types of impairments and just supportive devices that can help support them, because not a lot of people like me weren't really aware of the many devices that are available for people with disabilities or anyone who really needs the support. So throughout this book, she talks about just the different types of technology, and what types of technologies goes with a disability. And then she just talks about the history of the assistive technology, and lastly, what is to come as far as technology and these devices go. So throughout this book, she talks about the 10 types of assistive technology devices, which are the architectural elements, the sensory elements, computers, controls, aids for independent living, prosthesis and orthesis, aids for recreation and support, in sports, services, and then ranges as far as no technology to high technology. And then she talks about, like I said, the benefits of assistive technology. So she says that, obviously it helps them, it helps build the confidence, helps increase their self-esteem, and then improves the quality of life, breaking down barriers, and then increases independence. She also talked about the history. In 1824, blind people could not read, so then they created and invented a talking reading machine. And then in 1870, Graham Bell's wife was, deaf, and tried to develop a device for her hearing, and then she ended up inventing the telephone. And then vision impairments. Not until in 1975 did they have access to a printing material. And then more updated news with Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Paul Allen making all technology more accessible for a bigger audience. And then, like I said, and I mentioned earlier, she talked about the different disabilities and technologies and what types of devices go with each. So as you see here, technologies for people with visual disabilities, she talks about many, and these are only some. She talks about a lot more. Technologies for people with hearing disabilities, again, the types: loud telephones, amplified handsets, technology for people with physical disabilities, again, and so on and so forth. So she goes on and explains them in detail, and what they're good for, and the price, and so on and so forth. And then one of her main points was how to pay for assistive technology. She's named many resources that are able to help. That, many people are kind of stuck because they want a certain device, but they can't afford it. So these are some resources that you can look into, or that can help fund or pay the for the device itself. So she talks about the government health insurance, the Medicare and Medi-Cal insurance, Veterans Affairs, vocational rehabilitation agencies, workers' compensations, personal loans, charitable organizations, employer tax breaks, and then finally, the conclusion is she talks about the future of assistive technology, and they named robotics, bionics, cars, brain gates, implants that help design those who have lost control of their limbs, and yeah, there's many more.